up, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. And if you don't know me, my name is Sonia and I like everything high-end and luxury beauty. And I finally invested in some proper brushes and I want to talk about it. I am a hobbyist when it comes to makeup, but I do have a lot of information. I also have a lot of products and I kind of just want to nerd out with you guys, show you guys what I have in my collection, what worked for me and what didn't work for me. Now I know that Black Friday is coming up, so I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I even did a poll on my community tab when it came to my new brush purchases. And when I did the poll, I asked you guys, what do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see a review on the REPHR brushes that I bought, a review on the SONIA G brushes, or do you want to see like basically a comparison and which ones I would recommend? And I figured this is going to be a video where I want to do all three. So I'm going to include some timestamps. Now this is quite vital if you're someone that wants to just get into the video soon. I'm going to start with my REPHR brushes. I am going to go through each brush that I own. I think it's going to be a long video, so definitely grab a coffee or something because I am going to talk about all my brushes individually as well. And I did do a B-roll on another day where I use all of the brushes so you can kind of see how they apply my makeup, how they work on my face, etc, etc. At the end of each section, I am going to do a little bit of a recommendation, which brushes really worked for me. And then I'm going to move on to the SONIA G section, the brushes I got, a little bit about the brand itself. And in the end, I'm going to compare both brands. Do I feel like they're worth it? All of these brushes are going to be linked down below. Yes, all of the links are going to be affiliated because REPHR does have an affiliate program and Beautylish does as well. So if you do see a brush that you like and you want to support my channel, feel free to use one of my links. Of course, it's not a requirement. It basically is a link to the brush itself and I get a little bit of commission by taking you there. All of these brushes are bought by me. SONIA G and REPHR don't know who the hell I am. I'm a very small channel, so this is definitely a passion project. And all of these opinions are going to be mine and mine alone. They're going to be incredibly honest. Spoiler alert, they're probably not going to be brutal, but let's just get into the video before this gets too long. So like I said, I first wanted to start with REPHR brushes just because I have the most REPHR brushes in front of me. I believe I have 13 brushes, but I'm going to go in order of their numbers. So they are numbered 1, 0, 1, 0, 2. You can buy from their shop, but they also have something called a concept store. Concept store is basically that the brushes are going to be incredibly cheap. Like they will have a discount of about 40 to 50%. In return, they do want you to do a review on them. REPHR has a pretty interesting motto. They're basically going for, we offer the best in class products at accessible prices. So the reason why I wanted to look at REPHR and SONIA G is because they do have that kind of Fude Japan style brushes. From my understanding, Fude brushes, they're all made in Japan and in areas of Japan, and that is where you can get like high quality brushes, which is definitely a reason why I decided to go this direction. I wanted to get high quality, but I wanted to see the difference between REPHR brushes quality and the quality of SONIA G brushes because the pricing does really differ. When it comes to my REPHR brushes, all of them are quite affordable because I got all of them, literally all of them on a sale. So I'll make sure to put the prices down below of like what they actually were and how much I paid for them in the end or how much they were in the concept store. When it comes to REPHR and their concept store, they do have some bundles now and again, and I know they're going to have some bundles for Black Friday sale. And when I started out with REPHR, I did want to look at bundles, and the first bundle that I picked up is the Essential bundle. It's currently not on the website, so I'm going to base this off what I see on the website, but the Essential set actually comes with 4 brushes. They come with 3 kind of basic eye brushes and 1 face brush, which is really nice because I wanted to test out both the eye brushes and the face brushes to get a proper like review out there for you guys. So let's start with the number 1 brush. The number 1 brush is just your typical blender brush. When I first saw this, you know, there's nothing really much to it. I feel like everybody needs a brush like this in their collection just to get your crease shade going, maybe buff out some of the outer edges. I believe this is made out of real hair, and this is just really great for uses of powder. So if you have a lot of powder shadows, this is a really great brush. Next to that, you have the number 2 brush. This is a really nice buffer brush. Very nice when it comes to your outer corner V and a little bit of the crease detailing. It's also really nice for the under lash line area to smudge it out a little bit. And this is, again, another necessary brush in my opinion if you want to go for a full-blown eye look. So a very easy look to do is a smoky eye look. And these are definitely two essentials for the smoky eye look. Then, of course, you have the number 3, which is more of a pointed brush. It's very small in comparison to the other two. And this is definitely more for detailed eye work. You can really smoke out the outer corner, definitely do some detailing work, also take it out all the way on the bottom lash line. This is just a very great mini trio eye set. And if you are a beginner, I actually think that this is a really great set to have because these 3 brushes is all you need for a perfect simple look. Definitely put emphasis on simple look. When it comes to number 3, I don't think you can, do a very tight winged liner with this. This is definitely for smudging out some of the deeper colors. If you like just a smoky eye look, these 3 are all you're gonna need. Then when it comes to the number 4 brush, I honestly wasn't that impressed when I first saw it. This is just your run-of-the-mill face brush when I first saw this. But I actually really like this. So usually I don't like these type of slanted brushes. I like mine to be domed, but this one is actually quite perfect because it's quite, circular and there is a little bit of a, slant, but not too much. If I can compare it to this one, which is the MORPHE E4. The MORPHE E4 is definitely has longer bristles, therefore it does fan out way more. What I don't like about this brush and why I never use it is because I feel like I don't have a lot of control when I'm using this brush because it just lays down product and fans it out all over the place. But I like to have my blush a little bit more targeted. This is nice. The number 4 is nice because it does the targeting really nice. The bristles aren't too long, so it doesn't fan out too much on your face. It definitely kind of pinpoints the blush where you want it, and you can just blend it out the way you want it. It's definitely great for the contours of my face. So all in all, this essential kit is definitely a huge recommendation for me. If you're a beginner starting out and you don't know where to start, this is just a really nice, trio of eye brushes that I feel like everybody needs to have in their collection. And this blush brush, I'm using it as a blush brush, but you can use this at any type of powder, if you want to contour with it or bronze with it, also fine. But I'm using this as a blush brush. This definitely has, skyrocketed all the way up top. I absolutely love this brush. So when I was doing my first order, there was a sale going on at REPHR of buy one and get one free. So I did wanted to add on a little bit of more brushes because I have quite an extensive makeup routine. I like my routine to be simple, but at the same time, I do like to work with a lot of creams. I like to layer my blushes. I like to go in with a liner brush to smudge out my liner. So I did want to look at some of the other brushes apart from this set. So in the first order, I also included this number 17 brush. This is a kind of small foundation brush. It has one of those flat tops that you can buff out foundation with. It's actually really great for creams. I do use this a lot. The reason this is brown is because I used it today, and it has a smaller size. So if you're someone like me that kind of like fat fingers their makeup, so I'm quite rough in application, smaller brushes like this work better for me. When it comes to foundation brushes, personally, I do like them domed and not flat. So I tend to use this for example, my cream bronzer, but it's a great brush to use and it's much smaller than I expected. Then the next one I picked up is the number 23 brush. Now this is very comparable to the number 3 brush. I also believe that their description is they're basically the same in shape, but the number 23 has to be a smaller version of the 23. And this is a brush that I like to actually do my liner with. If I want to do a smudgy liner, so I use one of my Sign Kajal liners by Victoria Beckham Beauty and then smudge it out. This is kind of perfect for that. It's very pointed, it's very dense, and it is still very soft, so it doesn't feel very stiff and hard. So you can really do some blending out, but you have a little bit more control when it comes to this brush compared to, for example, the number 3 brush. I do like this, but I did decide to go ahead and buy this brush as well, the number 29 brush. This is a liner brush through and through. If you want to do a sharp edge, a sharp line, you can use this one from the bottom lash line all the way up to your eyebrow area and create that beautiful sharp edge. I do like this brush. I admit I do like these type of brushes to come angled instead of just flat like this one. So I tend to use this one more for the bottom lash line and to smoke out my liner from the bottom lash line instead. Then last but not least, I picked up this weird ass brush, the number 32. This is an odd one. I don't know why I wanted to pick this up. I saw the shape and I was intrigued. That's kind of what I like about REPHR, because there is a sale going on. I feel like the brushes are going to be a bit more affordable, and you're going to pick up some brushes that you might have just an interest in and you want to experiment with. And the number 23 was definitely that for me. This is sort of a contour brush, like mini contour brush. And how I use this is I use this to contour creams into my crease area, and I love to contour my nose with this. It's just an amazing nose contour brush. It's a little bougie to have a brush just for your nose contour, I know. But like I said, when I started this whole like brush journey, I was looking for brushes that really fit my routine. And as much as bougie as it sounds to have a brush just for your nose and eye contour, it is something that I like to do, and it's not a step that I often skip. Lately I've been liking just to contour my eyes and just do a one and done shadow. So this brush is definitely getting some great use. So I do recommend this brush, but I don't think it's for everyone. And if you're not someone that likes to contour your nose with a cream or contour your eyes with a cream, you don't really have to pick this up. This is just, you know, a little fun one for me. Then in my second order, I actually picked up the new sets, so the newest brushes in their collection. And this comes with 5 brushes. I liked all of this. I saw this and I remember thinking, these kind of give me SONIA G Feud brushes vibes. They look like they're going to be great for creams. They also have a beautiful liner brush with it. And I just needed to try them out. Spoiler alert, I'm really excited about these. So let's get started with the first brush. So the number 33 brush, I think it's described as the number 1 and number 2 brush. If they had a baby, then you would get this one. So I do think it's described as something where you can do your eyeshadow with in a really quick motion. But personally, I've been loving this to, again, I'm gonna just show you how these brushes work for me, not necessarily how they're designed, because I've been loving this to set my under eyes with. There is some blending quality to it because it is based after the number 1, but it's as flat as the number 2 buffer brush. So it's kind of just perfect to do that kind of under eye setting. And if you set like I do, so not all over the face, this is quite perfect for that, and I've been really liking my brush for that. Again, kind of bougie to have just a brush for the under eye area, but you know, it is what it is, and it was definitely missing in my collection when it came to my REPHR brushes. Then next we have this crazy 34 brush. This is a mini liner brush. It looks like you can do calligraphy with this. It's absolutely amazing. The 34 is a brush that I really wanted in my collection. Now I have a brush like this in my collection right now from MORPHE. Let me just get it out. So the MORPHE M50-1. Both of them are extremely small. Like my camera doesn't like to pick up these brushes because it doesn't know where to focus, and these are them right next to each other. And because it has such a fine tip, you can get liquid liners like really nicely as a very thin line. You can do some detailed work with this. You know, I'm not someone that does a lot of like detailed lining works, but I decided to use this a couple of times with my Lisa Eldridge Liquid Lyrics shadows. So these are liquid shadows, and guys, I got some really great looks with this one. I've also tried it with this one, but because this one doesn't have that fine tip, the one by MORPHE, you get kind of a thicker line with it when you use it, because yeah, it just doesn't want to do what this one wants to do. This one, it's just really dainty. You can get a really soft hand with it. If you are someone that was waiting for a great liquid liner brush, this is a really great one. The next, we have the 35 brush. Now I was excited about this one because this little domed brush kind of reminds me of a Westman Atelier brush. I don't have it because I don't have any Westman Atelier brushes, but I'm talking about the Blender brush by them. I was always excited to try a Westman Atelier brush, but they were just very expensive. I also feel like their brush handle is much shorter, and I like my brush handles to be longer and lengthy like this. I do feel like you can get more control with this. The closer you get to your face, the more pressure you're gonna give, and the farther away, the less pressure you're gonna give. You know, a little simple brush magic for you there. This is just a really great brush. If you have, for example, blushes that are cream, blend it out. For example, if you have their Westman Atelier blushes, this is about the same size as one of their blushes. You can really dip it in and then just use it all over the face the way you want to. The next one was an odd one, the number 36. I believe this was described as an eyeshadow brush, but it's kind of shaped like a finger, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of shaped like a finger. And even though it was made, I guess, to do a quick eyeshadow look, I'm assuming how dense it is that it was made to do a cream eyeshadow look. I actually have been loving this as a concealer brush. And on the website itself, it also says that testers have been loving this as a concealer brush, and I agree with the testers. If you're looking for a great concealer brush, this one sort of has a point to it, so you can get really near to your, inner sockets and do some really great concealing work right here. And it's really nice to blend out because it does have that bigger shape. Last but not least, I have the number 37 brush by REPHR. This is also part of the same set, and I was excited to have this because one of my favorite brushes of all time is the Morphe R14 brush. And if you see these side by side, they are friends. And like I said, the number 4 brush by REPHR, I never liked this type of, slanted edge when it came to a brush. That's just because I never had a great one. And I used this one to do all of my bronzing, all of my buffing, all of my blushing, and this has just been such a workhorse in my collection. So when I saw this set and I saw the number 37 kind of looked like it, and I agree they kind of look very similar. Number 37 is a little bit less fanned out, but it could be because my Morphe one is a bit older. But when I saw them, I knew I had to have this set. This is just a really great powder blending brush for your face. It's not too big, it's also very tapered, it's not too long of bristles so it doesn't fan out everywhere. You can get some good detailing work out there, still blend it out really nicely. It's basically a great blending brush for your face. All in all, I do feel like the new set, it's just been a really great experience because it kind of like replaced some of the brushes that I have that are definitely getting a little older. Like the Morphe brushes that I have, their stems are kind of falling apart. They're a few years old now, but they're still working amazingly. But I like to have doubles with some of these brushes. But all in all, it's just a really great set. There are some brushes in here that I've never had before. So some of these brushes in the newer set are definitely unique. Whereas the Essential kit, I feel the brushes are more, I guess, essential brushes. So for a beginner. Whereas the new kit, I definitely feel there's some brushes out there that are great for if you just want to add on to your blush collection. So those were kind of my REPHR brushes. I have a few recommendations when it comes to REPHR brushes. Like I said, if you want to get the Essential kit, if it is available and you are a beginner in brushes, I definitely think Essential kit is the one for you. And if you're wanting to get some brushes that maybe like, could fill a void in your collection, then I actually think the new kit is something to look at. My favorite brushes in general, or the brushes I definitely feel like I could recommend for anyone, is the number 1 and the number 2. These two you just need to have. For the simplest eye looks, a buffing brush and a blending brush are the best ones to have. If you want to do a little bit of a inner corner highlight, you can get the number 3. But if you think that the number 3 is a little bit too bulky for you, you can get the number 23 because it's the number 3 but then smaller. If you like a great, angled brush like this one for blush, then definitely the number 4 is something to look at. But if you're someone like me and you like this kind of just overall domed brushes, then the number 37 is just a really great workhorse brush. I use this for literally all of my powders. It's definitely something that I have in my collection all the time. Then the most unique brushes are definitely the number 35, the number 33, and the number 36. So the Westman Atelier lookalike is the number 35. Again, this looks like the blender brush by Westman Atelier. I believe it's a little bit bigger than the baby blender brush. 33, again, a little bougie to have something for your under eye areas, but this is just kind of a flat powder brush. Definitely an interesting one if you want to add on to your collection. I don't think it's a must-have in my opinion. Same goes for the number 32, which is that angled contour, nose contour brush. Definitely not a must-have, but something that I'm enjoying. Now this one, the number 36, this is a great cream brush. Great to do your concealer. It's just really nice and it, blends out concealer super fine. So let's just get my biggest recommendations out of the way. You got the number 1, which is your typical blender brush. You got your number 2, which is your buffing brush for your eyeshadow. And I like the number 23 brush because you can do some detailing work with this. And it's just a smaller one of the 03 brush. Then for face, I love the number 35 brush, which is just something you can do your creams with. For powders, I love the 37. Again, something to do your powder, contouring, bronzing. And for your concealing, I've been loving the 36 brush. So those are my recommendations for REPHR. When it comes to shipping, REPHR kind of takes the cake for me because they do ship to the Netherlands and all of their VAT, so their taxes, are included within the prices. So the fact that I can get these brushes half off and I don't have a tax when I order from them is just a triple win for me. I definitely wanted to test out Sonia G, and when I buy from Beautylish, if you are from Europe, I do pay a very hefty tax when it comes to Beautylish. Beautylish does do its prices in dollars and not in euros. It doesn't convert them. So I'll make sure to put it down below how much I paid for it in euros. And it definitely kind of like knocked me off my game a little bit. It took a lot of my budget for that month when it comes to makeup, and I went over budget by a mile when I did this order. Now when it comes to Sonia G brushes, there's just a lot of ways to go. I got a little bit intimidated, but they have a really nice brush guide, which I would definitely recommend you looking into, where you can just see all of the brushes, what they're meant for, their width, their sizes, the hairs. Now when I started, I definitely had to look at my collection and what was missing, and I definitely looked at the non-limited edition ones. So the Lotus collection looks absolutely beautiful, but I wanted to look at, you know, something that I could possibly expand on. And I saw 3 non-limited edition series that I wanted to really explore into. The first one were the Fusion series. Now the Fusion series, in short, they're made for cream products, and you know, almost all of my base products are going to be creams, and that was definitely a great one to start out with. I first wanted the bundle, but I did some calculating, and the bundle doesn't actually mean it's cheaper. So if you get all of them individually or all of them as a bundle, I believe it was about the same price or just the same price. So I figure let's not be a maximalist about it and just pick out brushes that you know you're really going to use. One that was recommended by many was the Jumbo Base Brush. This is a big daddy. This is a crazy big brush, and you can do your foundation with this just in a few strokes and done. If you like fast makeup application, this is definitely the one for you. This is made out of, I think, both synthetic and real dyed or undyed goat hair. It's made to go with creams. I'm quite rough with makeup applications, and I noticed that if I go a little bit smaller, my makeup looks a little bit better, because if I use a big brush and I'm rough in applying, then sometimes it just goes all over the place. This one, for example, for my primers, it's a really nice one, but more for my foundation, I like to be a little bit more dainty, and that is where the Classic Base comes in. The Classic Base is just a really nice domed brush, whereas the Jumbo Base is not really domed. There is a little bit of an angle to it, which I didn't know when I picked up, and it's just incredibly wide. This one is definitely faster in application, and this one is definitely, the classic one is definitely a bit more dainty. This is just a really nice workhorse brush. Again, you can do your cream foundation with this, you can do your cream contour with this, you can do your cream bronzer with this, and your cream blush. This one is just overall a very great brush to recommend if you like a lot of cream products. This is definitely something that you could look at. Then the third brush I picked up was this one. This is the Jumbo Concealer Brush, and again, I do my concealer every single day, even though I don't do my foundation every single day, and this has just been really nice as a proper concealer brush. Kind of flat, it's very tapered. All of these brushes are incredibly dense, and they pick up cream products and liquid products really well, almost similar to how a sponge would operate. You know, I always knew that like synthetic brushes are great for creams, and then you have powder brushes, and they're usually not synthetic, they're real hair brushes. But having a blend like this, and the way that they're just designed, the way that these work on the face, they're definitely a class on its own. But I've enjoyed the Fusion series so much, I want to see some of the other series. So the second series I decided to look at was the Pro series. And the reason I looked at the Pro series is because I like beginner-friendly brushes and that I can use with powders. So the Pro series is kind of the one that I was looking into. And like with the Essential set, when it comes to REPHR, where you have like a blender brush, a buffer brush, and more of a, you know, detailed work brush, that's what the Pro series kind of had for me. So you have this one, which is the Blender Pro Great for the crease area. It's just very soft. It's more tapered than I expected, but it has replaced one of my other favorite brushes by Morphe, which is the M573. These two are definitely friends, and this one is just really great for any type of powders into the crease. This definitely cut my time in half when it comes to just really quick blending. It's just really smart. Then I needed a great buffer brush, so I decided to go into the Worker Pro brush, kind of flat on one side and a bit more wide on the other side, and it's just been really great to do a little bit more buffing, kind of get my transition area, you know, layering transition area, but it's also great for the bottom lash line and blending out the bottom lash line. This is a great brush in general, and I get to compare this to the number 2 REPHR brush. The bristles aren't as long. It's definitely more wide. This one is definitely more pointed to the top. There are some blending properties to this Worker Pro brush that I'm really appreciative of and makes this brush more versatile than the O2 by REPHR. Then we have the Pencil Pro brush, and like the number 3 of the REPHR, I like to have a brush that I can do some detailed work with. Now this is kind of chunky in my opinion, but this is a great one to do a great inner corner highlight, maybe do something up the arch of the eyebrow. And of course the bottom lash line, you can do some detailed work with that. I definitely am missing still, for me, when it comes to my SONIA G brushes, a liner brush. Altogether, these three together, they make for a great smoky eye look and gave me a really great view on how the Pro series worked. I feel for powders, these were just so easy to use, so quick, and it blends out my powder shadows like a dream. In my second order, I also wanted to get a powder brush for the face, and I did some digging and I wanted to look at the Sky series, which I feel are more of the powder brush series, and I decided to get this one, the Master Face brush, for the same reason why I like my Morphe and my REPHR 37. The Master Face brush is that great domed brush. It's bigger, definitely bigger, but it's both has that great dome. I feel like I could use this, for example, for finishing powders. This is definitely a Master Face brush, and it has kind of the same use for me as the 37 REPHR brush. It's a little bigger, so it's a little bit chunkier in use, but it's definitely so soft, and it has that beautiful blue handle that the Sky series is known for. When it comes to these brushes, they're absolutely amazing. I have a few recommendations. My recommendations that I definitely feel like you must have in your collection no matter what are this one. I love the classic base brush. It's just a really solid brush to have for all of your cream needs. You need a blending brush, so the Blender Pro is definitely a really great one. I love this Worker Pro. Worker Pro, guys, this one for a little bit of blending, buffing. It's just a really great brush to have, and I feel like it's a better one than the O2 by REPHR. And the last one I've been really enjoying is this Big Daddy over here by the Sky series, the Master Face. It's an easy brush to have for just so many powders all over your face. My recommendation for SONIA G brushes is, as much as I see the bundles and I want to get the bundles as well, I definitely would recommend you to look at your overall makeup routine and just pick out the brushes that you definitely know that you need, because these brushes are going to be a little bit more pricey. Face brushes are definitely going to be more pricey. Brushes with, I guess, the double bristles, so the synthetic mixed in with the real hard bristles, they're going to be a little bit more pricey. So I've been talking for a long time, so let's get to my final thoughts. Let's compare the two. First off, let's talk about how these brushes look. All of the REPHR brushes, of course, come with this beautiful black handle. They are lightweight. They're just incredibly lightweight brushes. Even the face brushes, there's no weight to them at all. I feel like they're completely hollow. They feel sturdy, but at first, the first time I washed them, hairs did come off. I don't feel like I have to worry, but I'm just wanting to be open and honest with you guys that did happen. I saw some comments saying that they feel, or like their opinion was that these brushes feel cheap. I sort of understand where you're coming from. I definitely don't feel like they look cheap. I love how cohesive the line is, and I just feel like the weight makes them maybe feel a little cheaper than they actually are. All of these brushes are incredibly soft, and if you're someone that likes to just experiment with brushes, I feel like REPHR, especially for the price point, they are worth it and then some. So I feel like I could have paid more and still been very happy with my purchases. And most likely I will be buying more of these brushes because they're just so easy to get for me. It takes about a week or two to get these brushes to my house, depending on, you know, just conditions. You know, when COVID happened, everything took a little bit longer, but it takes about 1 or 2 weeks to get these brushes at my house, and that's without expediting shipping. Then we have the SONIA G brushes. They are heavy. These feel incredibly luxe, and not only that, they look incredibly luxe. Like when you look at the Sky series stem, there's some like almost glitter reflex into them. The Fusion series doesn't have that, but they have these beautiful faded red to black and blue to black that make these look like a little bit of art pieces in your collection. Now, when it comes to the heaviness of a brush, as much as, or as stupid as this sound, it does have a function, because how heavy the brush is does work with the like ergonomics of a brush and the control of what you can have when you're using this brush. Lighter brushes in that sense are a little bit, in theory, a little bit more difficult to control. I do believe in that theory. I did do my second order because I do feel like they're worth the price. I feel the REPHR brushes are incredibly solid. If you're someone that likes to do your makeup every single day, if you're someone that is very creative, and you want to test out more brushes, you want them to be more affordable, these are worth the money and then some. There's nothing wrong with these brushes, even though they look a little less fancy. They're all very soft, and I can achieve the look that I want with all of these brushes. None of these have totally let me down, and all of them have a function, regardless if it's a big function or not in my collection. I like that I get to be experimental with these brushes, that I can figure out what type of brush style that I enjoy, and I just, you know, I enjoy the prices that they are given in. Then, when I see these SONIA G brushes, overall, not just like the way that they look, but how they work is just better. They're definitely designed for a specific purpose, and whatever the purpose may be that they're designed for, there is some craftsmanship over here that I really can't put into words. Everything from the stem, the bristles, all the way to how, you know, heavy it is, how it works. It's made to get optimization out of your makeup routine. If you are someone and you have a very set routine and you just want the best of the best, then I definitely think these brushes are for you. If you're someone, you're into luxury beauty, then definitely these brushes are something to look at. They are little bits of art. Do I think that they're pricey? Absolutely. I think they're hella pricey, and I definitely won't go buy these brushes willy-nilly, but I definitely think they're worth it. I'm gonna just go out and say I do feel like they're better than my REPHR brushes, just because they can get the results faster. Not only that, I do feel like sometimes you can get the results in a better way, so they blend out better. For example, when I use the Worker Pro brush, that one definitely feels like no other brush that I have in my collection. The way that it blends out my powders is just a really great brush to have. There is definitely some thought into the brushes. It's not just your typical buffing brush, but there's a little bit more, you know, buffing, transitioning. It's definitely a multi-use brush. I feel that a lot of these SONIA G brushes are made to do that type of multi-use, and they definitely looked at the bristles not as just black and white of like synthetic and, you know, undyed goat hair, but they definitely looked at it and go, okay, well, what does a, you know, brush user need? I think the SONIA G ones are totally worth it, and I love having them in my collection. But at the same time, I do feel like I'm gonna get some great use out of my REPHR brushes. It really depends on you and how you are as a brush user. If you hear this and you're like, well, I can get a similar look out of the REPHR brushes, I don't mind that they're, you know, not like the end all, and these are just really great brushes, solid brushes, get the REPHR. There's nothing wrong with those brushes. You're gonna get some great looks out of them. You can experiment with them, and they're not like, you know, breaking the bank. And if you're someone you want just the best of the best, I definitely feel like SONIA G is gonna be the best of the best. I definitely would recommend not to get the bundle right away. Definitely see what is missing in your collection and build upon your collection like I did. Last but not least, for SONIA G brushes, I did buy this SONIA G washcloth. This is how I clean my brushes. This is just really great to get that extra moisture out of your brushes. And it's also been really great, for example, if you have something that has a lot of fingertips on top of it, this really takes away all of the fingertips. For example, if you want to show your Patrick Ta products, you can just use this to get all the moisture off and the fingerprints off. So this is a bit of a random, you know, makeup tool, but I definitely would recommend this. I hand wash this all the time with warm water. It's just really cute. I've been really enjoying this, so get it because that is limited edition. Anyway guys, thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful, and I hope I can get this out before the Black Friday sale. You can see the brushes in use. Don't feel pressured to use one of my affiliate links, but if you do want to support my channel, you can use one of my affiliates down below. I want to thank you guys all for watching this video all the way through. I'm sure it's going to be a long one, and I hope I got some great information out there for you. If you happen to have some extra questions, please make sure to comment down below. I'm going to try to answer you as much as possible. I've used all of these brushes. I loved all of these brushes. None of these brushes are going to be duds. As long as it fits in your makeup style, you're going to be happy with any of the brushes that you see here. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you liked anything about this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!